What's going on, everybody? Welcome to show number 2 of the Seville Sports Mentality Show with the Sports Rev and Coatesville's own Mr. Grub. What's going on with you, Mr. Grub?
What's going on, Rev? Everything is great. We got a win yesterday. We will talk about that. I'm itching at the bit, but I'm great, man. I'm happy. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands.
Well, my team was on the bye, so I won't be happy till next week. But nevertheless, we want to welcome everybody once again to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. We want to pause to say thank you so much for the positive feedback. We thank you so much for all of the great show posts that were made on Facebook. We thank you all for helping us eclipse 500 followers in 1 week. Give yourselves a hand, Seville. Send up some hearts. Send up some likes. Mr. Grub, how you feel about our start and the love that we've been shown?
And I'm grateful, man. I am grateful from the bottom of my heart, man. Because when we launched this thing, we didn't know how it was going to turn out, but people were supporting, man. People were calling, people were messaging, and I'm thankful. Thank you, guys.
Well, we appreciate each and every one of you. Again, please note that we can't go live yet on our page, the C610, the Seville Sports Network, because Facebook has this rule where you can't go live for 60 days until your page has been on for 60 days. So we're streaming live through the Pastor Michael Clayton Harris page that's been shared on the 610, the Seville Sports Network page. Also, we're on YouTube on the 610, the Seville Sports Network YouTube channel. So if you don't mind, please like the Seville Sports Network Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That would be greatly appreciated. The more followers and subscriptions to the channel, the better. If you don't mind, share this broadcast with somebody so somebody can be connected to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. With that being said, we're going to move forward, and we want to know who's checking in from Cash. This is a time where we have what we call the Cash check-in. So if you are a graduate of Coatesville area high school, will you please be so kind, put your name in the chat, what year you graduated, so we'll know who's checking in from Cash. As each week we seek to have the Cash check-in, as we want to show some love to those graduates of Coatesville area high school. Nobody's checked in yet, but we'll wait for a minute. Once again, Mr. Grub, what class are you representing from Cash?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Class of 95. 95.
Class of 1995 is in the building with your own Mr. Grub, a.k.a. Levi Worthington, representing the class of 95. If there's anybody else from Cash tuning in to the show, can you please be so kind and let us know what year you graduated from Cash? I see one that came in the chat. I'm going to give a few more seconds before I share that one. But again, we want to show Cash some love. You may be chiming in from another page and we may not be able to see it. But if we can't see it, we truly appreciate you checking in, and we'll show we'll see your check-in at another time. But come on, let us know what year you graduated. We got Cynthia L. Baxter checking in from that class of 1968. That is dope. Sister Cynthia, thanks for tuning in to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. That was actually the year my dad graduated from Morehouse College. So that's a very significant year in the Harris family. Kim is chiming in. I believe she is part of that class of 1995 with you, Mr. Grub. Am I right about it?
Yeah. Kim.
That's all you got?
No, I just wanted to see your face, man. Hey, listen.
And again, we
Class
want
of 73 to check in. Class of 73. It means it holds something special in my heart.
all right. So class of 95 is in the house, class of 1968. Anybody else from Cash, please check in. Let us know that you are tuning in. And again, we want to thank Sister Kim for what she does for the show, as well as the network behind closed doors. She is our network coordinator. So big ups to Sister Kim. We truly appreciate all the hard work that she does for us behind closed doors, and a lot of the imaging that you see in the posts, that you see the little pretty stuff that you see with the interviews that we've done. That's her magic. We can't take credit for that. So we thank her in a very special, special way. All right, so we got 2 to check in this week. 2 is better than none. Anybody else comes in during the show, please feel free, if you're a graduate of Coatesville Area High School, to chime in. Let us know that you're tuning in, and we'll be happy to put your name on the screen and show you some love. Well, one of the things that we seek to do with this show is to show love to Coatesville athletes who are presently playing, as well as those who have played for Coatesville in the past and they're still doing big things on a higher level. So for the very first time on the Seville Sports Mentality Show, we are coming up with a new segment called Red Raiders Respect, where we want to show Red Raiders some love who have had some wonderful accomplishments during the past week. And for this particular one, since it's our first one, there's some accomplishments that we're going to acknowledge that happened prior to this week. So watch this video as we show some Red Raiders respect. And then after we show the video, Mr. Grub has one addition that he received on today. So check this video out as we seek to show some respect to some Red Raiders who are presently Red Raiders and some Red Raiders who are alumni. Check it out. Can y'all send up some hearts and some likes for those Red Raiders with huge accomplishments before Mr. Grub brings in his? Again, we want to show some respect to the Coatesville women's wrestling team who plays 3rd out of 30 teams at War at Shore in Ocean City, Maryland, early this month. Also, we want to show some respect to Taylor Sherry, softball player committed to Elizabethtown College in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, about an hour and 15 minutes away from Coatesville. Also, we want to show some respect to Andrish Shiznuik. I know I butchered that name. It's a brother from Ukraine. It's a wrestler who committed to Bucknell in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, which is about 2 hours and 30 minutes away. Also, we want to show some respect to James Weldon, wrestler who committed to Millersville University in Millersville, Pennsylvania, about an hour away. Also, we want to show some respect to Nasir Williams, who scored his 1,000th high school point, having played for Sankofa School in Philadelphia, and he's playing his last year with our own Coatesville Red Raiders. And also we show some respect to Katerio Summers, former Coatesville football player, class of 2018, who signed with the Ottawa Red Blacks of the Canadian Football League. And just today, Mr. Grubb was given one more name. Who are we giving respect to, Mr. Grubb?
They're showing respect to Mr. Tristan Jackson. He played wide receiver for the Coatesville high school football team. He received the Jeff McWilliams Award, which it exemplifies outstanding performance at a skill position. So congratulations, Tristan Jackson. You are the man.
Thank you, Mr. Grubb, for sharing that, and big ups to Tristan Jackson. Mr. Grubb, do you know what position he actually played?
He played wide receiver, 6'3", senior wide receiver.
6'3", senior wide receiver Tristan Jackson won the Jeff McWilliams Award. He must have been a big baller, shot caller at the wide receiver position in order to get this Jeff McWilliams Award, being the most outstanding, receiving outstanding performance in the skill position, that skill position being wide receiver. So big ups to you, Tristan. Big ups to all of the other persons that we have shown Red Raiders respect to. And during the course of the week, would you be so kind, if you know any other persons who had a huge accomplishment for that given week, that we can show some Red Raiders respect? We are not just giving love to the basketball teams, but we need your help to give us those names and accomplishments from other sports so that we can give them some Red Raiders respect. And we are just launching, so we don't have a full staff to get to all of the events, but it's our duty at some point to go and show some love to these other sports. And we'll probably get to a wrestling match. We'll probably get to softball games and soccer games and lacrosse games as they come. But we're appealing to you that we need your help to get us the information so we can show these Red Raiders some respect and love on the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show. So thank y'all so much in advance for helping Mr. Grubb and the Sports Rev out, getting these accomplishments so that we can highlight them each Monday on the show. We have somebody else who checked in from Cash, Amir Haskett, class of 2014, is in the Sports Mentality building. Thanks so much for watching, and thanks so much for posting your class. And anybody else who graduated from Cash, even though we've passed the check-in, if you want us to show you some love, please put your class in the chat so that we can have you come on up on the screen. We have a great show lined up for you all. We're going to give you updates on the Coatesville boys and girls basketball teams. Also at the top of the hour, we have a great interview lined up with one of Coatesville's former basketball players, Dior Kennedy. Following that interview, you see Mr. Grubb is ready for some Eagles conversation. So we have an Eagles conversation lined up. So we need you all to share in that conversation, especially if you are one of those fly Eagles fly people. I'm not one, but I don't mind participating in the conversation. As you can see, Mr. Grubb is one. He's already in uniform, ready for the conversation. And also we have Penn State conversation coming up that we're going to have just a little bit later. As we know, Penn State lost in the semifinals of the college football playoff. And then to conclude the show, we will remember one of the schoolgisms of our own coach for some, Deacon for me, Scoogie Smith, as we have one of those schoolgisms that we will share at the end of the show. And then at the end, I got a little inspiration for you to help you run on just a little while longer. Are you ready, Mr. Grubb, for this show?
Man, let's get this show on the road.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Something's crazy going on in the background. I don't know why members of Passtown are popping up on screen behind. I don't know what's going on, but I'm seeing members pop up and not our interview popping up. So I'm a little nervous what's going on here. I don't know if the link is hijacked.
Get out of there. Get out
I don't know what's going on here. But I'm seeing everybody but who we're interviewing. But nevertheless, I don't know how they got access to the link. But I guess we got to do a better job protecting the link. But nevertheless, let's keep it moving. And let's give our update on the Coatesville boys and girls basketball teams. We'll start with the girls this week. MistaGrub, you had a chance to check them out this past week in their game against Downingtown East, where they came up a little bit short, 54-44. But I'm sure you saw some good things during the course of that game. So tell us what you saw during that game.
I'm here to be honest and transparent, man. I mean, I like the girls' team. They're very young, very young. They have a couple freshmen that are getting major minutes, but that Downingtown East game, Downingtown it's a tough team, man. You could tell they had, some experienced players on their team, and they were very fundamentally sound, which that's what we expect from playing any Downingtown school. But they were down about 14 points in the first quarter, so they dug themselves a hole. But by the second quarter and in the third quarter, they ended up, cutting it to 1 point. So they didn't stop. They didn't stop fighting. They got fight in them. I think if they stick together and continue to grow together and develop together, they have a bright future ahead of them.
Appreciate that insight. And we were able to see footage from the game that you posted from Milan Bryant, who came up with a critical steal in their comeback that came a little bit short, but freshman Milan Bryant had a steal that was posted on our sports show, and we want to give big ups to you, MistaGrub, for capturing that footage. And it's wonderful that we got another freshman phenom on one of the sports teams doing their thing. They also had another game this past week where they came up short against Hazleton area. The game was a little bit lopsided, but we want to give big ups to the girls. We know they're a young team. Most of their starters are in 10th grade. Also, I just gave a shout out to their freshman who started, Milan Bryant. And we hope that things will turn around for them as they're getting games under their belt. They're getting more experience, and who knows? With the experience that they're getting, they might be able to make some noise when it's tournament time. So we'll see what will take place with the girls basketball team. And if any of you all have some insight that you all would like to share that we can post about the girls basketball team, feel free to post it. We'll put it on the screen. But with that being said, let's transition to the boys basketball team. And they are still playing some wonderful basketball since the Christmas, New Year break. We see that they are on a major winning streak. They won their last 4 or 5 games, and they won both of their games this past week. We see that they beat this past week. They beat Henderson 67-49. Freshman Colton Hiller. And hopefully y'all saw that big-time dunk that he had where the refs hated on him because he hung a little bit on the rim. But nevertheless, he led the team in scoring during that game with 16 points. Junior Larry Brown, the big man in the middle, scored 12 points in that game. Nasir Williams scored 10 points, and within those 10 points, he scored his 1,000th point as a high school basketball player between two schools, Sankofa and Coatesville. So again, big ups to you, Nasir. Great kid. Had a chance to interview him and talk to him off camera. He scored 10 points. And one of the unsung heroes in that game was Chris Allegra, the energy man, the lefty. I like him because he's a lefty. I shot left-handed too. He scored 10 points during that game. I believe both of us attended that game, MistaGrub. What were your thoughts about Coatesville's boys beating Henderson? And any comments that you may have, particularly about Nasir Williams scoring his 1,000th point?
I'm thoroughly enjoying this squad this year. The sky's the limit for them. I can tell you that. They have approximately 8 games left, and I think they're going to finish strong going into the playoffs. But that game, the Henderson game, I enjoyed. It seemed like the scoring was all across, the board. I think they got a strong team, man. They got a nice, bench going. They can go at least 7 deep, 8 deep, and guys come off the bench to contribute, man. And it's not the same guy every night leading the score. I mean, you got Hiller, you got Larry Brown that can pour it in sometimes. You got Nasir, he can pour it in, and then you got Amon Folks, man, and Amon Folks is strong at the point guard, man. I love him, man. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till the playoffs start. I'm telling you, it's going to be bananas. You better get your tickets early because it's going to be sold out.
To your point, in terms of the array of scorers that the Coatesville boys basketball team has, Amon Folks, senior guard, who you just mentioned, led the team in scoring with 19 points in their victory against Downingtown East, where the boys won 71-56. And then the big man in the middle, junior Larry Brown, came with another strong performance, 14 points. The freshman, Colton Hillard, scored 13 points in that game. And then senior Nasir Williams scored 10 points. And it's a wonderful thing as a basketball coach to know that you are not just relying on one particular basketball player to supply the offense in each and every game. It's a wonderful thing where you can get scoring from the guard position, forward position, center position. That's a great problem to have. And what that does is it makes it difficult for teams to be able to scheme against your team when you have scoring literally from all 5 positions, and then you get some scoring pop from the bench. So as I interviewed Coach Allen the other night, that is definitely one of the things that he's happy about his team, that he doesn't have to rely on this person or that person each game to score, but he knows if one person is not delivering, somebody else has the ability to step up and score. So we look forward to seeing more big things from the boys. I think the boys and girls teams only have one game this week. Both of them play Bishop Shanahan. So, Mr. Grubb, are you expecting W's for both the girls and boys as they face off against Bishop Shanahan this week?
I will not be arrogant because, as you know, being around the boys team a lot, there's no arrogance detected from anybody, from the coaching staff on down to the players. All good people, man. So to answer your question, I predict a win for the boys, and I do predict a win for the girls.
I like that prediction because I believe the girls in particular, well, actually, this will be their second time both teams will play them. The boys won against Bishop Shanahan early in the season, won pretty handedly, and the girls beat Bishop Shanahan by 2 points. So they have a home game against them, and hopefully the home crowd will show up so that the girls can show out during this game against Bishop Shanahan so we can get another W in the win column for the girls basketball team, because they need one right about now. And I think they were in prime position to get a W this coming week against Bishop Shanahan. And I plan to be at that game on Tuesday. Mr. Grubb, are you available?
Absolutely. I'm there. Absolutely. And hopefully get these girls off that losing streak that they're on right now.
No diggity. No doubt. And one of the things that we're seeking to do, because it's odd for me, I played high school basketball and coach high school basketball in Georgia, the ATL, not suburban Atlanta, but in the city of Atlanta. Those people who live in Conyers and Douglasville and Marietta, that's not technically Atlanta, that's suburban Atlanta.
What
All right.
about Rex?
Rex,
Yeah.
REX, that's suburban Atlanta.
See, I know my way around. I know my way around there.
Well, it looks like you know your way around suburban Atlanta. I'll give you credit for suburban Atlanta. But when you start talking about Cascade Road, Peachtree Street, Lakewood Freeway, those are indications that you know a little something about the ATL. And if I were in the ATL, they'll say like this ATL shawty. Yeah, ATL. But anyway, the point was made. The point I was seeking to make was that in Georgia, the girls' varsity basketball team travels with the boys' varsity basketball team. So you get varsity games together. And then you got JV travels together, JV boys and girls. But somehow, I don't know what y'all doing here in Pennsylvania, where you got the varsity boys play in one gym and the varsity boys play in another gym. I would just hate it as a parent if I had one child playing varsity boys and another child playing varsity girls. How do you manage that? Maybe one day we could have somebody on the show who had to experience that.
So, Rev, this is like the second time you brought this up. Do y'all have a JV squad?
Yeah, okay. Somebody help Mr. Grub get some Q-tips, because I just explained that, Mr. Grub. I said the varsity boys and girls travel together, and the JV boys and girls travel together. So to help Mr. Grub out, and I'm just playing with them, the varsity boys and girls, they play typically in Georgia on Tuesday and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The JV boys and girls typically play on Wednesday night and Saturday morning. The varsity boys and girls sometimes have games on Saturday afternoons and evenings as well. So that's how they travel. That's the schedule. Tuesday, Friday, some Saturdays, varsity boys and girls. Wednesday night, Saturday morning, JV boys and girls. So you got varsity and JV traveling together. So that works out, especially if you have kids who play JV and varsity. So I don't know why Pennsylvania does it differently. And I used to live in New York, and the way they do it here in PA is the way they do it in New York, where the girls varsity travel on their own, and the boys varsity, they travel on their own. Maybe one day somebody in Pennsylvania can get the Georgia light.
Man, we good, man.
So that people can see these teams play together. Because to me, and we got a little time before our interview, and hopefully our interviewee will be coming in shortly. And I got an amen. I got a witness, right, Rev? So somebody in PA who graduated from Coatesville wants some of that Georgia light to be shown here in Pennsylvania. But hopefully at some point, no, that wasn't the point I was going to make. Here's the point I was going to make. And this is one of the things that they're intentional about in Georgia. I think they went a little bit too far, but here it is. So it's really unfair for the girls, because typically, and this is no shade, no gender bias, just facts. If you typically have a choice between watching girls basketball and boys basketball, most folk going to see the boys game. That's just the reality of it. And therefore, many times, the girls basketball team, they get the short end of the stick because they're playing in front of fewer people. So this is one of the reasons why I would love to champion the cause to get them to play together, so the girls can play in front of basically the same type of crowd the boys play. And then also it allows them to be prepared to play in front of big crowds as they advance in the tournament. Because sometimes you play ball, I play ball, and crowds matter. And sometimes people can't perform in front of big crowds. We had some people, when the gym was empty, they looked like All-Americans. And then when the gym got packed, they were shivering shivering on the bench. So crowds matter, and it helps kids be able to heighten their focus. Also, it helps coaches see what kind of players you're dealing with, who can play in the big games and so forth and so on. So, yeah. So Cynthia Baxter said she lives in Georgia. That's what's up. Now, Cynthia.
How much are you paying, Cynthia?
No. Nobody get paid. She just understands. She can feel the Georgia love. So don't hate on the Georgia love, Mr. Grub. Don't hate on the Georgia love. Cynthia, matter of fact, now help me understand where in Georgia you live. Where in Georgia? Type in the chat where in Georgia you live, so we can bond a little bit. And if you live in suburban Atlanta, that's okay. But just let me know where in Georgia you live. So I'm not trying to go to the house. I just want to know where in Georgia you live.
I'm guessing she lives in Savannah, Georgia.
You're guessing Savannah?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place. That is actually
there.
A beautiful place. Savannah, matter of fact, a lot of people go to Savannah because that's the only place really in Georgia where they have water, where they have a beach. So many people, in order to get that beach feel that they enjoy, they have to travel about 3.5 hours to go to Savannah. Actually, I'll be in Savannah next week broadcasting with you because I got to go to a conference. So I'll be in Savannah Monday night next week as we do the Seville Sports Mentality Show. Hopefully the weather will be good to me because I need to get out this snow. I'm not feeling snow, even though we haven't had a lot of snow. But I'm just sick and tired of looking at the weather report, snow flurries, cold temperatures, snow sticking. Man, I've seen more snow in this winter cycle than I've seen probably in 30 some odd plus years, because I was in the ATL for 32 years and we might have had about 4 or 5 good snows in that time frame. As a matter of fact, as I shed light on that, Atlanta just had 3-4 inches this past weekend. So, matter of fact, some of the churches closed down because of having snow, and they freak out on 1 or 2 inches because, again, they don't have the equipment like northern cities do with salt trucks and pre-treat roads and all that stuff. They don't really invest that kind of money in it. So that's why they get paralyzed with a little bit of snow. But we're still waiting for our interview, to come on, Dior Kennedy, and hopefully we'll get some help to see where brother Dior is as we're waiting on him. But let's move on really quick. Mr. Grub, you got on a Philadelphia Sixers skull cap. So what are your thoughts about what the Sixers are doing right now?
Oh, man, you know my feelings about Embiid, and I should not let that cloud my judgment about the Sixers. But I can't help it, man. I will represent my team. I love the Sixers. I used to rush home to watch AI play, and Barkley was my favorite player of all time. But I can't stand Embiid. I want to trade him now while his value is good. I know that's not the question you asked me, but I always get distracted when you ask me about the 76ers because, to be honest with you, it's hard for me to watch. It's hard. I sit there and I'll start watching it and then I'm falling asleep, you know. And I'm so disappointed that McCain got hurt and he's done for the season because he was a bright spot other than Maxey. But yeah, man, But the one good news about the Philadelphia 76ers is that they will not be building in downtown Chinatown. They're going to stay in South Philly next to the other arenas. So that's good news for Philadelphia 76ers fans.
Hold on right quick, Mr. Grove, because I want to go back to something that you just said. But Miss Baxter is chimed in. She's in Snellville. Okay. She's north of Atlanta. Okay, that's what's up. She says she was at Passtown Church a few weeks ago. Now that you say that, I do remember you. And thanks so much for tuning in. And also thank you for joining us at Passtown the other week. And she said, yes, they do freak out with snow. And I'm sure you experienced that all the shelves were empty of bread, of all of the essentials that you need in the midst of a snowstorm. So I appreciate you sharing that. All right. With that being said, Mr. Grubb, let's go back to the Sixers. And I need you to help me understand and tell these people, because I've heard it off air. But the people need to understand why you got so much basketball disdain for one Joel Embiid, who's been a former MVP, not just of the Philadelphia 76ers, but he's actually been the MVP for the entire NBA. Help somebody understand why you got so much basketball malice towards Joel Embiid. I'm gonna give you the full shot by yourself so you can explain yourself to the people. Go.
I ain't got to explain myself to nobody. Hey, listen, man. So the reason I don't not like Embiid personally, I do not know him. I just don't like his demeanor on the court. Embiid can be the best player in the league when he's healthy. But when is he healthy? He doesn't want to play back-to-back games. But on the other hand, you want to play in the Olympics. He's a crybaby. His demeanor is horrible. He's not a great leader. He's a moper. He's out of shape. What else do you want me to say? That's just my personal opinion why I do not like Embiid. I'm not going to say, okay, he's playing great. I can't go with the emotional roller coaster, man. I'm an Eagles fan already. I don't need that from the Sixers, man. And he's the main problem. I just want to get rid of him. Let's focus on Maxey, get McCain healthy again, and these young guys, man, and let's go from there. Or matter of fact, let's tank and get Cooper Flag.
Tank for Cooper Flag.
That sounds good.
I don't know. You already been through that.
Man,
you already experienced the trust,
man.
You experienced the trust the process era that did not really give any major dividends to the Sixers. So that tanking stuff should be out the Sixers vocabulary because you tried that and it wasn't too successful. The only person that you got from tanking was the guy you bashing on. That's Joel Embiid. Because all the other guys came and they went. So why would you want to do something again that already showed it didn't work? Somebody say you keep doing the same thing over and over again. That's insane.
I'm not trying to do the same thing again, okay? I'm changing the whole process thing. We're not going to call it the process. We're just going to say, like the commercial, the Nike commercial, just do it.
You don't
like that one?
So you're trying to rephrase or reframe, rather, trust the process. I got a better name for what you're trying to do. It's called the redo. The redo. That's all you try to do is redo what has already been done. But okay. You said something about Joel Embiid. Get something for Joel Embiid. Okay. You do know he signed an extension this year.
Everybody.
Right before the season. I need you to listen. I need you to listen. Because I want you to be able to sort out your thoughts because it's not just that simple. Okay? Here it is. What can the Sixers really get in return for Joel Embiid? They got a player who got a big contract, bad body, and is always hurt in the playoffs. What you getting back in return?
You can always get expiring contracts. What?
So basically,
I'm not expecting to get a star for Embiid. Okay. I mean, I'm not expecting to get a star for. Matter of fact, send Paul George with him. Somebody will take his contract. Somebody will take Paul George's contract.
Man,
like, let's fix these mistakes that we made.
All right, it's time.
You extended Embiid and you signed Paul George. Horrible. All
right, I'm glad our interviewee has popped up in the backstage because
I'm tired of holding this guy's water for him.
I'm a little concerned with your Philadelphia 76ers GM abilities because you're talking about get rid of Paul George. So now Paul George is a problem. But I guess that goes with
he's
the
a
whole
problem. He's collateral damage.
So basically you're saying get rid of Paul George to go with your whole blow up the ship.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So if that's your stance, I can't argue that. You want to blow it up, or as
you
Denzel would say,
I didn't ask you.
and Denzel Washington was saying in the movie Glory, tear it up. So that's what you want them to do, to tear it up.
Now,
all right.
Denzel would say, "Get your hand off me."
As Cynthia back saying, Paul George, really, Mr. Grub? But we'll let you acknowledge that at another time. But we're glad to have get ready for our Coatesville Sports Legacy interview. We have a young man who recently graduated from Coatesville, played 2 strong years for the basketball team, led the basketball team to 2 Elite 8 appearances in the 6A PIAA tournament. And right now he is playing basketball at Hargrave Military Academy in Virginia. With that being said, Coatesville Sports Mentality family, can you all do us a favor and welcome star player Dior Kennedy to the building? What's going on, brother Dior?
What's going on? How are y'all?
We're doing well, and we want to welcome you to the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show. Thank you for taking the time to share with us on today. And with that being said, let's get right into this interview, and we'll start with Mr. Grub asking you the first question.
Okay.
Hey Dior, welcome to the show, man. I'm
appreciate you,
man. You look good. You look good. Look happy.
Thank you.
So what was it like growing up in Coatesville for you?
Growing up in Coatesville was really fun for me because I grew up in Carver Court. So really just a fun time for me growing up with my brother Amir, my friends Artie and De Niro, and just us bonding together, playing every sport that we could outside, dusk till dawn. So it was really fun for me.
I'm going to follow up that question with this one. When did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball at the age of 4 at the YMCA.
At the YMCA in Coatesville?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. And who taught you how to play basketball?
Crazy thing is, I would say my brothers. My brother taught me how to play basketball because, like, I was really a soccer guy when I was younger. I didn't even really like basketball for real. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
I didn't even really like basketball. I just wanted to play soccer, and then he put the ball in my hand. So.
Now, what's your brother's name so we can show him some love?
Amir Kennedy.
Amir Kennedy. Somebody ought to thank Amir Kennedy for placing a ball in his hand and taking the soccer ball from his foot. Go ahead, Mr. Grub. What you got for Dior?
The good thing about playing soccer, Dior, is that it teaches you footwork. So maybe soccer did help you with your game because you do have good footwork on the court.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you what other sports did you play? Were you a 2-sport athlete?
So I was a 2-sport athlete all the way up until 9th grade. I played basketball and football, but football was kind of my second love outside of soccer. And I didn't really want to play basketball, to be honest. I wanted to play football, and then the cars just took me here. So it's wild.
Let me follow that up with another question, Rev. Hey, Dior, I want to ask you, do you love playing basketball?
Yes, I love playing basketball. And
the reason why I asked that is because some kids at a certain age, they end up losing the love for the sport.
Yeah.
Did you ever come to that point, like say at the age of 16, 17? Did you question your love for the sport?
Definitely question my love for the game because through trials and tribulations, you're always tested. Like, tested, but you got to weather the storm. And it never felt like with me not playing. So, like, I knew that my time is not done yet. Like, nowhere near done. Like, I love this game too much.
So you use some church language right there, and I'm a real reverend in real life. All right. So I heard tests, trials, and tribulations. When I hear those kind of words, my spiritual antennas go up. So it's interesting, a young guy like yourself talking about
Yeah,
tests, trials, and tribulations. So if you don't mind, share if whatever you feel comfortable sharing with one of your basketball test trials and tribulations that you experienced, and how did you overcome it?
definitely. So my sophomore year, we was coached by Mark Turner. I was a sophomore, starting as a sophomore. Had just came off a COVID year, which was hard for everybody because we was on class like this, virtual. And it's crazy because I was at Collegium. Our season got canceled due to COVID or the outbreak. So I was just like, they said we could play for PIAA said that we could play for our district, play for Coatesville. Found out that I was related to half of the people on the team, didn't even know it. It's wild. So ended up transferring there the summer of 2021. I had a great preseason in the summer. Had a great fall with the team. Started off hot with the first game. I think I woke a lot of people up with my first game my sophomore year. I think I had like 22 points against forget who we Chichester or Chester, one of the two. And after that, we played Downingtown West. My first time ever playing Downingtown West. Packed game, packed home game. I talk to my friends Chris and Maya about this all the time. It was crazy. It was like because I always seen it as a kid watching Jig and Dupree at the Coatesville games with the Downingtown West and how the rivalry, you know how the rivalry is.
Mm-hmm.
But really just when I got there, I just remember my heart just pounding like, yo, this is crazy. I was just excited, like, yo, this is wild. Get there, we get into the game, start off hot. I think I had like 7 straight. And then after that, things just go downhill, like downhill. And I think it was around the end of the third quarter, me and Dylan Blair had got into a scuffle on the ground. And they said that I had hit him. I didn't hit him, but that's what the refs say.
Right.
So they had suspended me. They had ejected me out the game, and I was suspended for 2 games.
Mm.
And I was torn apart because I was 15 years old. I was just getting my groove on. It was just one loss, and then now you're telling me I got to sit 2 games off of something that I felt like I didn't do. And then me, Mr. Changer, we all tried to send the video because I have the footage. It was on YouTube to the PIAA. They wouldn't look at it. They wouldn't approve it. So I had to sit and really just watch my teammates go out there. And it was tough because it was a big loss because I always play basketball. When I play basketball, I feel like I have that energy, and I always bring that energy. And I felt like everything just died down after that, and our season just went straight downhill after that. And then lost our coach mid-season. It was a wild year. Wild.
So how did you overcome that?
I overcame that by really following the end of that year, knowing, just looking at all the mistakes that I made and everything that happened, because I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. So it was definitely a reason just to figure out. I just was focusing on getting ready for AAU. Then I get the call from Tootie. Tootie hits me up. He's not really giving me like sense that they want him to take the job, but he's just like, yeah, I watched y'all last year, man. It was da-da-da. Like, you know how Tootie is. He was just playing around with it. So eventually April comes around, and I just remember talking to Josh Kranz about it. Like, yo, he was like, yo, that would be dope if Tootie came back and coached. And then I think the day before they announced it, Tootie had got the job, and he had called me like, yo, I get the job, I'm in. And I'm like, okay, let's do it then. Let's do it. And then ever since then, just went off.
That's pretty dope right there. And I guess Coach Tootie was trying to feel you out just to see how you felt about him potentially becoming a coach, and that's good stuff.
It's crazy though, because Tootie was my coach all through elementary and middle school too at Collegium. Okay. So it was just wild to just reunite like that.
Yeah.
So there's a song that predates you that says "Reunited," and it feels so good. I got you. But real quickly, before I ask Mr. Grub to give you another question, we gotta pause because there's someone special that want to show you some love. I think you know this woman who said, "Hi, son."
Hey, Mom.
So we gotta pause the interview to make sure that Mama gets some respect. Also, somebody named Jeremiah on YouTube saying, "My dog."
That's Jeremiah. That's he was on the team with me. He made the Elite 8 run with me his senior year, my junior year.
Okay, that was the other guard with the locks, right?
Yup.
Yeah, I
Yup. Yes,
remember
sir.
him. All right, big ups to
Yup.
you, Jeremiah. Thanks for
Yup.
tuning in. Mr. Grubb, I'm passing the ball to you. What question do you have for Brother Dior?
Dior, who were some of your favorite basketball players while you were growing up? Local or professional?
Oh, I got about 4 or 5. I would definitely have to say my first cousins, Jig and Dupree. Definitely love watching Rome Boyer when I was younger, little guy. And I would definitely have to say Leroy Hogard too. I love watching Leroy Hogard and AJ Hogard as well.
So no NBA players got your attention growing up.
I mean, I was a typical young kid. I feel like everybody loved LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. That was my era right there. LeBron, D Wade on the Heat, throwing lives to each other. So of course I love that. But in the NBA, I would have to say John Wall. Love John Wall's game. Definitely one of my favorite players of all time.
All right, so I'm a basketball head. I'm a basketball aficionado. I love basketball talk. So this wasn't in our notes, so we're gonna freestyle it right here. What do you like about LeBron James?
I love LeBron, man. LeBron's the GOAT, first off. He's over Michael Jordan, Kobe. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest to do it. There's nobody that's 6'9", doing what he do, moving like that, 40,000 points, can facilitate the ball. Just like he's just different, man. I just love the way he plays the game. His IQ for the game is second to none. Like it's ridiculous.
That's why I
Uh,
love this kid, Rev.
so you know if Josh Kranz is watching this, he
Yeah. Oh
just
my
tuned
God, he
out.
hates it. Yeah, he hates it. He hates it. He hates it. I
He-
already know.
but I share your same GOAT argument, and I'm willing to go toe to toe with anybody who wants to say Jordan over James. But that's another story for
Yeah, me
another
too.
day.
I'm right
I'm
with you.
glad we're in good basketball company right here
Yeah, for
because
sure.
we got the same goal. So let me go to another player real quickly. You mentioned John Wall, and John Wall was a baller.
Yeah,
We
he
know
was.
that injuries hurt him,
Yeah,
and
for
he didn't
sure.
leave the game on his
hmm
own terms. But what is it about John Wall that you loved about his game?
I just love his expression for the game. Like he had so much passion for the game. He was quick. Like the way that he was so flashy too. Got to his spots, could really pull up, get to his mid-range spot, attack. He was just a dog, really.
All right, and then we gotta ask you about one more person that you mentioned, D Wade. What about D Wade?
D Wade was actually I used to have all these D Wade jerseys when I was younger that my grandma got me. I just love D Wade's game. He ain't had to do too much. He just did what he had to do, help LeBron win. That's what he did. That's why I just love his game so much.
So last question, and Ms. Grubb, I'm passing it back to you. Who would you say you pattern your game after? Like somebody that we may know on the national scale or international scale. How would you describe your game if somebody said Dior Kennedy's game is like who in the NBA? And you can mix 2 or 3 players together.
Okay. If I had to mix right now, see, a couple months ago I had said Darius Garland and Terry Rozier, but I think now more that I'm playing the point guard spot in the one, I would definitely say a mixture between Russell Westbrook right now and DeMar DeRozan. Definitely those two.
So you on that triple double tip.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to get everybody involved.
All right.
Everybody.
Mr. Grubb, you got it.
So Dior, we kind of hit on your time at Coatesville a little bit. I just want to know what was it like playing your 2 years or at Cash, and what was it like playing under Tootie? What was your relationship like under Tootie?
Man, I wouldn't even lie to you. It started off very, very rough. It was
Mhm.
rough. Like me and him, it was more like a father figure thing, I guess, like really with us too. Because like we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. Like we didn't see eye to eye. We would butt heads a lot. But one thing I can always say is that like it really taught me, like it really brought a lot of character out of me because my junior year, if you just seen the growth from my game, my junior year to senior year, you would be like, oh my God, like this is a whole different kid. So I would really have to say like it was rough at first, but I would say that like man, it was just really great. It was fun. We would always do like little fun things. We was always well fed. You know that, Mr. Grub.
Yes, sir.
Uh, So it
You
was
get a
just
smile on his face with that one.
it was a great experience, man. It was a great experience.
Hey, real quick. So you said that you and Tootie butted heads.
Yeah.
With looking back now, right?
Hmm.
You're older. You're a year out of high school, a little bit
Yeah.
more mature. Would
Hmm.
you say most of the things that you guys butted heads on, he was correct, or
Truthfully, yeah. Like it's a different world once you leave Coatesville. So like I feel like he mentally prepared me to face any challenges that's coming up because like nothing was easy playing with him. And my teammates could vouch the same thing. It wasn't easy. It's not meant to be easy because we wanted to break the curse. Like we was close 2 years back to back to get the state championship. Like we
yeah?
was right there. So his goal was the state championship, and he installed it in us that we needed to get the state championship. So that's all that was. But I'm thankful for it.
All right, so Mr. Grubb is a little bit nicer than I am with the question. So I
Yeah,
want to dig a little bit deeper. I want to dig a little deeper.
gotcha.
Give us some insight on where y'all might have bumped heads, because that
Okay.
may help somebody else who's watching. We want to get the scoop. We're not here for the clean cut version. We want to hear the stuff that caused
Yeah.
you and Coach Tootie to bump heads. So what were, like, give us an example, maybe one or two things.
Uh, I would say the transition, like the way that he just changed everything around, because like he was building a program up basically from scratch because of the year that we had before, and the year before that, the COVID year, everything just felt like it had to be rebuilt. So we had two transfers come in. We had Amon, who's there right now on the point guard. Amon had came in from Collegium in the summer, and then right before the season started, Zori had came in. So I was the one my freshman year, my sophomore year. Now I'm playing the three because we got Amon at the point, Zori at the two, Jeremiah. We're playing four, like 3, 4 guards. Then we had Chris Proctor, and then we had Larry Brown. Larry was a freshman at the time.
Yeah.
So this was all new to everybody. So I wouldn't say like it was bad bumping heads. It was just like a new adjustment for all of us. That's why it was so, we just were trying to build that bond, you know?
I got you. So you really wasn't feeling not having the ball in your hands.
Yeah, for sure.
I read
Yeah,
between the lines.
yeah.
I'm a former coach, played college basketball too, so I hear what you're saying. You were used to having the ball in your hands, and now you
Yeah,
got to play off somebody else
yeah,
controlling what happens with you. I got it.
yeah,
I got
yeah.
it. All right, so we talked a little bit about Cash, and I think Mr. Grubb did a phenomenal job pulling out of you where you and Coach Tootie didn't see eye to eye, but you came to realize the coach was right, and he
Yeah.
did probably what was best. And one of the things I want to add, I've been in Coatesville now for 3 years, and I want to go to a point that you made. One of the things that has been special about Coach John Allen is seeing how players like yourself develop. Because I saw you your junior year, you had some solid moments, but you literally became a star your senior year.
Exactly.
And that's a testament to the development that is taking place in the Coatesville basketball team. As I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about Jonas, who's currently on the team.
Oh yeah,
How he's evolved from being just a fringe player to now a player who really matters in the rotation, where he's giving them big minutes. So that's big ups to Coach Tootie and the development that he and his staff are doing at Coatesville. And I would say to anybody who wants their child to be developed, you want to send them to Coatesville under Coach John Allen, because you will see if they put in the effort, there will be the results. So that leads us to the next question. So you play for Coatesville, you go to the Elite Eight twice, and then we see that you go to Hargrave Military Academy.
Yes, sir.
What was the psychology behind such a move? Because one would think that with the success that you had on the court, you might have gotten at least some Division I offers, some Division II offers at the least. Because I'll be honest with you, I tried to pitch you to Lincoln University in the CIAA. After seeing you play a couple of times, I had a relationship with the coach. Unfortunately, after they won the CIAA tournament, something happened and he was no longer the coach. So he couldn't obviously try to recruit you. But I was really big on you because you have a good body, you got great athleticism, you got a good shot, you got good ball handling skills, and I could definitely see you play big time basketball on the CIAA. So I was rooting for you, trying to pitch you. But things happen. You're at Hargrave. So what led you to Hargrave?
So it's crazy, right? So let me go back a little bit. So I would say going into my senior year, I had a breakout summer, and I had received my first Division I offer from NJIT like early May. It was like May
What
3rd.
school is that?
NJIT, New Jersey Institution of Technology.
Okay.
It's a low major Division I school in New Jersey. So that was a different staff though. The staff from back then is different now. So that was the difference between then. But on top of that offer, the Division I offer, I was getting so much love from so many schools, like mid and low major schools. So going in, I was just playing. We had tournaments over the summer, AAU, and then that's when we started playing with Tootie. We was having a lot of preseason tournaments and things. So my name was a big stop for coaches going into my senior year. So I would say around September, I had took a visit, an unofficial visit to Cal U, which is a Division II school in the PSAC West, out way out there. Me and my mom and a couple of my family members that went down there. Um, but I wasn't big on it because I was chasing my dream, which is to be a Division I basketball player. So I wasn't really too stuck on it because I'm like, oh, I'm going to grab something eventually because of how much buzz that I was having. Um, Later going on, ended up having a great senior year and ended up not picking up anything else. So I had a meeting with Tootie, my family, and I was really just praying on it. And I had came across Hargrave. It's crazy because my Hargrave coach Luke, he had texted me around November about doing a postgraduate year, but I didn't think that I would have to do a postgraduate year, to be honest with you. So eventually time comes forward and it's time to make the decision. It's April now, so time's ticking. So had that meeting. I took a visit to Spire, which is another prep school, or LaMelo Ball and a couple other players that went. So I took a visit there, and then I came here and took a visit. And I just seen like the different players that came through here. I think it's 29 NBA players, second behind Oak Hill, 120 Division I basketball players. I just seen like the greatness in this program, and I'm like, I can really make a name for myself. On top of that, chase my dream, and I'm getting the exposure that I've always wanted. So I'm like, this is probably the best decision for me. So come down, take the visit, meet with my head coach, Coach Ben Vesci, and Luke Brzezinski, and Coach John Mebb, and we just made it happen. So that's why I'm here now.
That's a dope story. Let me follow up with that question. What has your experience been like at Hargrave on the court as well as off the court?
So to be honest, quite frankly, it was tough for me to be honest with you at first because, coming from Coatesville, we get to go to school with anything we want to wear. I go to class with slides on, the do-rag, headphones on, just anything, just chilling. Got tips in my hand, anything I want. And then you come here, it's just like, it's structure. It's so structured, it's discipline. You got to be in your room at a certain time. We got practice. You got to be on time. You're held accountable for things. And it was just a different adjustment for me, really, just coming from the Coatesville to, everybody in the city, everybody know me, I know them, to a new environment, new teammates, and new everything. So, yeah.
All right, Mr. Grub.
So Dior, I'm sitting here listening to you and the things that you're saying. It's interesting how, I'm older, me and Rev same age, but sometimes you sit back and you look at the experiences that you had and how it shaped you and molded you as a man. And I watch you, and I think I became, I don't know, I became connected to you probably your senior year.
Yeah,
and I
for
was
sure.
like, man, that's a good kid, man. I could just I feel like I got a gut. I'm a good judge of character. And I said, this kid's a good kid. And you telling us the story about you and Tootie, I'm sitting there and I'm just listening. I'm like, man, this is great. This is great. And then you saying that, everything happens for a reason. And Skug used to say that all the time. And then you're telling us the story about your adjustment to Hargrave, the structure. And at the end of this season in your life, I'm guaranteeing you're going to say it happened for a good reason. Everything happened for a good reason. So
Most definitely.
I really didn't have a question except for, well, I do have a question about your future and what your future aspirations are.
Praise the Lord, you got a question. I was waiting for
it. Maybe reel them again.
I thought he was about to preach. I thought you were about to preach the gospel of Dior Kennedy's basketball experience for a minute. I mean,
hey, I got fired on my first day, man, but it's all good. I said I got to do Dior. But what's your future aspirations like? You know, for next year, or do you have anything that that's in the near future?
So right now, I'm really focused on winning this national championship. Like we got the team to do it. I think we're 19-4 right now, 18-4, one of the two. So we're one of the top 10 in the country right now. So we really got a chance to hold this thing in and win a national championship. I gotta win something. I can't leave empty-handed again. I gotta win something. And listen, Nate, really just after this year, signing that national letter of intent to Division I program, and just getting there in the summer to whatever school I choose that'll come out soon in a couple months, and really just working and just competing for a March Madness championship, get my degree, really want to get my degree, and definitely get my master's as well, and just prayerfully end up having a pro career, whether that's in the league or overseas. And then after that, end up coaching and doing things of that nature.
So, Rev, can I follow up on this real quick?
Go ahead.
Hey, Dior. So, I need you to do us a favor, because
yes, sir.
I'm trying to be the hard interviewer right now. Like my partner is, my co-host is Rev.
Yeah.
So, are you telling us that you have some things in the fire, some stakes in the fire for after this season, because you're focusing on the national championship, right?
Yeah.
You got some things in the fire. You got.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you expound on that or no?
We're gonna say that for a later date, man.
Okay, so on a later date, we're gonna talk about this on the
yes, sir.
We're gonna talk about it on this show.
You know I got you. You know I got you.
My man. That's what I was trying to get to, Rev. I'm sorry.
So listen. Great follow-up question. Everybody send us some hearts, send us some light for Mr. Grub. I applaud you learning. You're learning the business, so I can't even hate on you right there. That was a great follow-up question, but that was an even greater answer by Dior. You got to keep some things under the cuff. So that was what's up. So let me just say this real quick. I'm going to ask you a question, then we're going to end it with this, what we call rapid fire. So I had a chance to play college basketball. I went to Morehouse College on a four-year basketball scholarship. Finished finished my career as fourth all-time leading scorer. I had a chance to go overseas after my junior year. I chose not to go. Thank God I didn't. Wound up getting an injury going into my senior year, played an injury-plagued season, which kind of messed up my hoop dreams. And then I had to think about what's next in life. So we know basketball is only for a season.
Yeah.
You're going to have more years ahead of you without basketball than with basketball. So you talked about you want to get your degree. You also talked about you want to get your master's. So I'm going to start right there. What do you want to get your undergrad degree in?
So right now, definitely communications. Really big on one of the people that I look up to. I might like him or I might not. Is definitely Stephen A. Smith. He's definitely somebody that I could see. He's definitely in a situation that I could see myself being in a couple of years.
So that means you're always in the dictionary looking up for some big word. For
sure.
All right. So then, with the communications degree, you want to take that communications degree, and where do you see the master's fitting in?
That's really what I'm trying to figure out right now, to be honest with you. But I definitely know what I want to get my degree in right now.
Well, you got a great voice. I mean, great voice for TV or radio. And I'm sure you'll do well in whatever you decide to do.
I appreciate it, Rick.
This is what we got. What we do is we call this Red Raiders rapid fire. And I forgot to put that in the chat. So we don't give you this up front. We need
Gotcha.
you to think right off the top of your head, or like we used to say back in the day, off the top of your dome. All right. So
Gotcha.
what we're going to do is, or what I'm going to do rather, is I'm going to say something to you,
Mhm.
and you got to respond in 1 to 3 words.
Okay.
No long sentences. The first thing that comes to your mind, 1 to 3 words. And I need you to learn from Coach Tootie. He did well with this last week. All
Okay.
right. Anything more than 3 words, I'm hitting the mute button. All right.
All
All right. So we're going to hold you, and we want you to use that Hargrave discipline right now with just 1 to 3 words. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Ash Park,
Legendary.
Carver Courts,
Legendary as well.
legendary. That's 3. You made it. All right. 8th Ave.
Street ball legends. That word.
Street Ball. Okay, you made it. That's good. 9th Ave.
Street ball legends again. That's 4, but
All right, we'll strike out there again. Collegium Charter.
Annoying. Is that word?
Hey, that's what the first thing come to your mind. It's your thing. All right, COVID.
Heartbreaking.
Chestnut League.
Coatesville.
6A PIAA tournament.
Coatesville.
Reading.
Trash.
Tootie.
Legendary.
The transfer portal.
Horrible.
Neil.
My middle name.
Jameer Brickis.
First cousin.
AJ Hogarth.
Big bro.
And last but not least, Mr. Grub's chicken fettuccine Alfredo.
That's, oh my God. That joint's top
Oh
tier.
my God, is it? That's it. Oh my God. He said, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's 3 words.
Oh my God. That joint 2 out of 10. For sure.
So it's all that and then some?
Yo, I hit him up every time I come home. Like, yo, I need something. Like, what's up? Got to.
All right, so Mr. Grub, Rev is looking for some, oh my God, chicken fettuccine Alfredo as soon as possible.
Hey, Dior, he done changed the name.
Hey, you just got your chicken fettuccine Alfredo rebranded on the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show. And if he calls it, oh my God, make sure you get your cut from what it's called now.
I know that.
All right, man. Well, Dior, we got to thank you for spending time with us. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
This is dope.
Let some people know about the Coatesville Sports Mentality Show. We're going to continue to follow you, and we're looking forward to you signing. And we're going to hold you to the agreement that you're going to come back on the show once you know where you're going. And we look forward to have you. Best wishes. May God bless you and all that you seek to do. And keep your head up. Great things are bound to happen for you. Ladies and gentlemen, can y'all be so kind to send up some hearts and some likes for Coatesville's own Dior Kennedy?
I appreciate y'all,
first cousin, big bro, to hit me up.
All right,
I got you.
Appreciate you, Dior.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you again.
Thank you, bro.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Peace. Man, what a great interview with Dior Kennedy, man. That was awesome, man. Mr. Grub, I got to give you your props. You know I give you a hard time sometimes on the show, but I got to give you props. You've been lining up some great interviews for us, and great job, sir.
Hey, what's the worst they gonna say? No, right?
That's the thing I love about you. You bold, man. You're not afraid of a good no. We're gonna come with some Eagles talk, but there's some people that was commenting on Dior's interview, and we just want to post those comments up. We thank y'all so much for tuning in.
Yes.
Oh man, great comments in the chat. Y'all help make our show. Thank y'all so much for these comments in the chat.
Good family. Good
so
family.
Great. We definitely got to lift up Mama, who said God's plan with her hands lifted up. That's a great posture. Put those hands up, Mama, and the best is yet to come for your son. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in. All right, now we're shifting gears.
Uh-oh.
We got to talk about that ugly jersey that he's wearing right now.
You're so disrespectful, man. You're so disrespectful, man.
It's time to talk about the ugly jersey.
Where'd you get that? Come on, man. You holding out on me.
What you talking about?
That shirt you got on right there, you holding out on me.
Come on, man. You know I have to have my Scoogie gear, and I blessed you with some extra Scoogie gear too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, man, but I mean, I wasn't going to wear it today because we won.
Let's talk about that win in quotes. The Eagles did defeat the Packers in the playoffs on yesterday, and now they are waiting for their opponent. If you are an Eagles fan, we need your assistance right now to please type in the chat, because we have a fill in the blank that we need Mr. Grub to fill in, and we need some other folk to help him with the fill in the blank. I'm going to have him my fill in the blank as well. Mr. Grub, as you give us your commentary on the Eagles win. They did win yesterday 22-10 against the Green Bay Packers at the link. The defense forced 4 turnovers. They caused 3 interceptions and 1 fumble loss. Jalen Hurts threw 12 for 21 for 131 yards, 2 TDs. Saquon Barkley rushed for 25 carries, 119 yards. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown combined for 5 receptions for 65 yards. And the tight end Dallas Goedert had 4 receptions for 47 yards in the 22-10 win. So I just gave a little bit of background on the win that took place yesterday. So I need you to help me. The Eagles win was, fill in the blank, Mr. Grub.
The Eagles win was satisfactory for me, seeing that they came off of a bye, starter's bye, seeing that their quarterback came off of a month's rest, basically, and he was a little rusty, you know. And listen, it was a satisfactory win. I'm not overjoyed about it, but in the playoffs, all you want is a win to keep moving on. I don't care how we win. We could have won 29-10 if we wanted to, but because Saquon Barkley has such a good heart, and he doesn't want to endanger himself of getting hurt, he was smart enough to say, hey, I'm just going to go down, and we're just going to nail this out. So, yes, the Eagles win was satisfactory to me. We are on to the next game. I want to make some Mr. Grub chili. Oh, I'm sorry. I got off topic again.
Well, you go ahead and plug your food since.
Oh, and some hot wings too. Hit
Just
me up.
make sure we're gonna make a rule on this show that whenever you bring up your food, then you're obligated to give Rev what you're talking about. So I need to know if it's praiseworthy to be said on this show.
Yeah, what you have yesterday?
Your ribs were good, man. I can't even front. Your ribs are banging. I actually had some leftover ribs yesterday, so
in the middle of wintertime.
Yeah, you did your thing on the ribs. I can't hate on the ribs. Sister Tarman said a win is a win. That's how she's explaining the fill in the blank. A win is a win. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm a fan of a championship team, 2-time championship team, who's in the right direction at 3P. But That's not the question. The Eagles win was concerning. Concerning. We can't deny they won. And the object of the game is, at this juncture, I think it was Al Davis from the Raiders who said, just win, baby. And that's what the Eagles did. It's concerning to me because how many more playoff games will the defense force 4 turnovers? That's highly unlikely with the caliber of teams that are left in the playoffs. All the teams that are left in the playoffs, they have solid offenses. And I doubt very seriously the Eagles defense, even though it's rated the #1 defense in the National Football League, they're not going to get 4 turnovers week after week. So the defense really helped the offense to this W. And big ups to the defense.
Right.
With that being said, do you really think you're beating the Detroit Lions?
First of all, Rev.
I'm not finished my thought. I'm not finished my thought. I'm not finished my thought. I gave you all the reason to talk about your satisfactory to me. So let me get my concerning out, and then you can critique what I just said. All right? Thank you, sir.
Ooh.
So do you really think the Detroit Lions going to commit 4 turnovers in the game? Do you really think the Washington Commanders are going to commit 4 turnovers in the game? Do you really think a Sean McVay-led offense, Los Angeles Rams, are going to commit 4 turnovers in the game? Do you really think the Minnesota Vikings are going to commit 4 turnovers in the game? This is why the Eagles' win yesterday was concerning. They won. It's about winning. But it is concerning because of the road that's ahead for the Eagles. Now, I will say this, and you can then interject. The Eagles are in good position to advance next week. Why do you say that, Rev? Well, they play the winner of the Los Angeles Rams versus Minnesota Vikings tonight. The Minnesota Vikings, even though they play in a cold weather city, they play mainly indoors. So that means with the Eagles playing outside in colder conditions, they have actually an advantage over Minnesota as well as the Los Angeles Rams because of home field advantage being colder weather. So it will not surprise me one bit if the Eagles advance past this week. But if that lethargic offense has to go to Detroit or has to play against the Washington Commanders, trouble is on the way. The floor is yours.
Hey, Rev, you remember Charlie Brown and the teacher at the front at the desk? You never saw her face. All you heard was wah 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 wah. That's what that sounded like, Rev. When you talk about my Eagles, I am sick and tired of you bashing my Eagles. You bash the Eagles on our show. You bash the Eagles. Ah! I know you got something coming out your mouth. Hold on, you said it's my turn.
I didn't say anything.
You bash the Eagles, you may say you don't. But on a Sunday before the game, when you have the pulpit, you bash our Eagles, and most of your congregation is Eagles fans. Who do you think you are, Rev? Do you really think you're the sports, Rev? Who is your team, Rev? Atlanta? The ATL? Inside the city? Or is your team Kansas City Chiefs because they won 2 championships? Or is it because of Pat Mahomes? Huh? Answer the question. You can
answer the question by going to my daily meditation that I read this morning. In James chapter 1, verse 19, it says, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Let me rewind, push play, and say that scripture again to Mr. Grub so that scripture can seep into his spirit, seep into his tongue, his heart, and his mind, Because all we just heard from him is not being slow to speak and not being slow to become angry. So he did not say anything pertaining to my analysis. But all he did was, I hurt his Philadelphia Eagles feelings. So again, the scripture says in James 1 verse 19, everyone should be quick to listen. And they should have added, James should have added, quick to listen, Mr. Grubb. Slow to speak, Mr. Grubb. And slow to become angry, Mr. Grubb. Because I would love for you to provide some commentary based on the critique that I gave, based on what your team did yesterday versus the teams that they will have to play next week and the following week. But if you have none, just say that. And that will be, using your earlier word, satisfactory.
Look, man, I never said you wasn't a smart man. You're a very intelligent guy. But I'm an intelligent guy in my own right, too, okay? All right?
Well, that's why I asked you to be on the show. Because if you weren't intelligent, I wouldn't ask you to be on the show. So there's no need to try to affirm yourself. We already know you're intelligent. We already know you can cook. We know all of those things.
See,
I need you to stay on topic. I gave a critique.
That's going to happen. That's why you got me on the show.
So therefore, what I need to pray for each week when we do the show, please, Lord, give me the strength to handle the spirit of deflection from Mr. Grubb. I will include that into my prayer life.
Captain Deflection, that's me. Look, it's either I might not know the correct answer or I don't want to answer the question, okay? You're going to have to deal with this, okay? Mr. Grubb is going to do what he wants to do. At the same time, I'm going to accept it, okay? I'm not going to take anything personally because I can dish it back. And you know I can. But listen, I'm deflecting again. See, sometimes I catch myself.
All right, we're going to close this segment by me being reminded of the famous words from a famous movie. The words from Jack Nicholson in the movie A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth.
I thought you were going to say the movie 300 when he said, "This is Sparta."
Oh, no, not that.
I like
not,
yours better anyway.
Not that.
That's
all right, we're going to just give a quick reference. Penn State, congratulations on a good season. Came up short. Drew Allen threw a terrible pick, and therefore Penn State loses in the semifinals to Notre Dame. Big ups to Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. He may be the first African-American coach to ever win a college football championship on the big-time Division I level. So big up to Marcus Freeman. All right, we're a little bit behind schedule because we started our interview a little bit later than we expected. So let's go to the Schoolgism as we pay homage to our brother and friend, Coach Deacon Scoogie Smith. May he rest in peace as we get the Schoolgism for the week. And let's show his picture so everybody know who we're talking about. We're going to continue to keep this man's name in our mouths, as I ran across an African proverb who says, as long as someone's name is being called, they never die. So it is our job here at this show to never let Deacon Scoogie's name and what he did die. So thanks, Mr. Grubb, who was one of his former players, inspired by him. He gave us this Schoolgism, and just want to get what this means to you, Mr. Grubb. The Schoolgism for the week. Deacon Scoogie's own words said, kindness is one thing you can't give away. It always comes back. What does that mean to you, Mr. Grubb?
So this isn't something that Scoogie has actually said to me, but today when we were texting, this what came to my mind because Scoog was such a kind-hearted person to everyone. So kindness is one thing that you can't give away. It always comes back. That's something that Scoogie would say. Because when you left him, you would think about it. It was like, man, I can't even get his kindness away. It's coming back. You know, you got to think about what he says to you, man. But that right there, I think, really sums up James Scoogie Smith and how he felt about people and what he meant to this community, first and foremost. But I'm sure his kindness spread further than the cultural community. But yes, you were right, and that's one question I forgot to ask Dior. His interactions with Scud, because I'm sure he had some. But yeah, that this quote right here, this got me today. That it made me think about Scud.
And actually, this quote is coming into fruition on what we're doing right now, where he says kindness is one thing you can't give away. It always comes back. And because of Deacon Scoogie's kindness while he was alive, he's getting it back in death. As we are championing the cause to keep his name alive because of the kindness he exhibited to us as a friend, as a brother, as a mentor, and so much more. So therefore, as we conclude this segment with the wonderful words that you shared, long live the kindness that Deacon Scoogie Smith showed to not just Mr. Grubb and the Sports Rev, but to so many different people. And Sister Tara Mann said, in other words of Deacon Scoogie, awesomely awesome show. Peace and blessings, fellas. Thank you so much. And Coach from the Red and Red Sports Show featuring Coach. Good evening, gents. We truly appreciate you. There are a couple more comments. Dior, your chaplain loves you and is so very proud of you. Thank you, Brother Michael Washington, for watching the show. Tony said Hurts throwing less than 50% of his passes. And Logan, I'm just going to mention what you said. Basically, you talked about Drew Holler, excuse of a QB. You had a little word that we don't want to put on the screen. We kind of family show, but I understand your sentiment and your hurt. Nevertheless, as we get ready to end the show, we are very intentional to let you all know we are all about sports with a touch of Christ. And as a sports rev, I just want to give you this verse to ponder on real quickly. The Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, and we know all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. And let me just share this. God gave me the vision for this sports network and this sports show. To be very honest, Mr. Grubb was not my first choice. He actually was my third choice. No shade on him, but even though he was the third choice, he was the best choice for this network and for the show. So what are you saying, Sports Rev? If things don't go as planned initially, don't give up, don't stop, because all things will work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. And even though my first two options didn't pan out, all things work together for good. For God wanted me and Mr. Grubb to connect and get this network and get this sports mentality show off the ground to be a blessing to the city of Coatesville. So whatever your dreams are, if it doesn't work out initially, keep pushing, keep trusting God, and all things will work together for good. That wraps up the Sports Mentality Show for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Seville Sports Mentality Show. We want to thank once again Dior Kennedy for blessing us with his virtual presence, allowing us to have such a wonderful interview. Big ups to Mr. Grubb being my co-host on today, and big ups to the, oh my God, chicken fettuccine Alfredo. You know I couldn't forget that. With that being said, we hope that you will subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our Facebook page. Big ups to Sister Kim for keeping us in order off the camera. And we hope that you will tune in to the same Facebook page and YouTube channel next week at 6:30 for some more Seville Sports Mentality. Mr. Grubb, you got anything to close with?
We are one, just like Mace. Is it Mace? Frankie Beverly? And we are one.
All right. Be blessed, everybody. We're going to let Mr. Grubb work on that song and that closing for next week. Be blessed. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Peace and love. We're out.